Welcome back to this hobby of ours. In today's episode, the second time around watch company. All right, John, let's get up in your business. All right, I forgot to ask you, what are you wearing today?
I'm wearing actually a 1971 Rolex Day-Date President. Has a little bit of provenance to it. This watch was, I bought it from one of our longtime customers, who's quite elderly. He received it as a gift from Elvis Presley. He was the hairdresser for Elvis for many years.
Elvis who?
Elvis Presley. And so
I
don't wear the bracelet. The bracelet, you know, has the crown on the clasp.
Yeah.
And it was worn off, it was filed off. And I asked the gentleman as to why it was that done. He said, well, he was standing behind Elvis and doing his hair, and the crown scratched Elvis's cheek, and Elvis said either get rid of the watch or do something about the clasp. And so,
Can I have half off today?
No,
Okay.
This is not for sale.
Everything's for sale, brother.
This one is not. Yeah.
I think we're almost negotiating.
Yeah.
All right, you can see I did not wear a watch today. It's because I'm probably going to take some of these. So first batter up in your business, the Rolex 1016. And I shall hand it over to the expert.
1016, it's very much in demand right now. I remember when I first bought this business, I was selling them at a huge profit for under $5,000.
Oh my goodness.
And that was only in 2006.
That
was on a bracelet too. This one's a little bit more unique, and their prices have certainly gone up. This one's from 1963, and I don't know if you were able to catch that underneath the description, right above the 6, there's a little underline hash. And that indicates from 1963, it's a confirmation of when they did the dial the transition of luminous on the dials.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a little bit more desirable. This dial is original, has a lot of nice patina aging to it. And the watch is in really a nice condition and a nice original condition. And so it's a desirable piece. We don't normally get these. We're just very fortunate to have this one at the moment.
That's awesome. I saw you pull this one out of the window, and I don't have my glasses on, but this piece, what do we got going on here?
That's a Universal Geneve, the iconic tri-compacts.
Triple calendar with moon?
Triple calendar with moon, one of the most complicated watches you will get because it keeps time. It is a stopwatch, and it's a triple date, giving you the month, the day, and the date, and then lastly you have the moon phase. This one is a relatively rare one. Most of them were in steel. This one's all in 14 karat gold. It's from 1943, and I believe on this one the dial is original as well. Been kept in really good condition, probably because back in the day it was a complicated watch, and maybe this was a special watch that was only worn for special occasions. But it is an iconic piece. It's probably the most complicated watch out there.
Yeah, that is pretty gorgeous. Wow. Yeah, Universal Geneve. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew they'd be so sought after? Who knew? Now, up next, if you've been watching the videos, you know I love me some Benris. Now, Benris did not just make the Steve McQueen watch. I have one of those, and Leo is drooling over it to this day. I'm secretly trying to help him find one. If I find one that he hasn't found, I'm gonna hook up my buddy because he's super cool. He's also Mustang Club. This one here is the Benris Sky Chief Chrono, which I know a little bit about, but I also know someone who knows a little bit more.
Well, I like Benris as a brand, very much so. They were understated. They were considered an American company. They had their own factory in Switzerland, but they assemble the watches in the U.S.
Oh.
They even in the Virgin Islands at one time, and in Connecticut at one time. It was three brothers that started the company. This one dates to the 1940s. It's hard to date it exactly. The Sky Chief often used a Valjoux 72 movement.
Yeah.
Very desirable. We get as many as we can. And I just like them. Typically people think, oh, Benris is an inexpensive watch. It's a high quality, inexpensive watch. They just had their reputation, but the Sky Chief is the only one that tends to be one that commands a good price.
I hunted them briefly because I'm super into Steve McQueen, mostly because of my Mustang. but also the watches.
Yeah.
And that's how I got turned on to the other Benris models, and this thing's gorgeous. Well, as you know, we are in California, and there is no better California watch than the California dial. Let me get up in this little beauty. I've heard so much and I've read so much about the origins of it. I'm going to let you talk about it.
There's two conflicting stories. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
this is pretty rare. This one's from 1943. It is not a bubble back. You typically see the California dials, known also as the Roman Arabic dials, because they have Roman numerals as well as Arabic numbers that are on the dial. This one, in my lifetime in the watch industry, this is only the second original Roman Arabic California dial I have ever physically seen. The other one belonged to a gentleman whose father bought the watches new, and he brought it in for service.
Wow.
Now, there was rumors that these were dials that were made up. That was one of the stories. It was made up in California, hence the term California dial. That isn't true. Maybe for some of the bubble backs early on, but this one is one of the first ones from 41. It is on a watch that was also used as the Rolex, same reference number for the Rolex Army, which was an Army issue in World War II.
Wait, not the Commando.
No, and also the Everest. This
okay.
one is called the Falcon.
Oh, right on.
And so it's the same reference number, but different. But this, I saw this, I got very excited, tried to keep from one of our watch dealers that was selling it, tried to keep my emotions down because I had to have it. But
You're playing poker?
Yeah, I just think that it's so beautiful. But it is a manual wind watch on this one, and it also had some engraving, which we tend to sometimes remove, but sometimes this one wasn't offensive. It just had initials and the date it was given to the person.
I like the provenance of engravings. Yeah. I might be in like a small camp, but unless it's something nutty.
Well, sometimes it might say, to Bob from Mabel, and
those are the ones I love the most.
But some people feel that it may have a weird, karma to it. I don't. I think that one.
I think it's nothing but charm. I'm going to do a separate video about my watch story with since we're talking vintage, I found a Hamilton Otis, which was 1930, 1940. They had gotten the patent to do the JLC in America. Ultimately, it did not go well. But on the back of it, JLC sued them, and they had to stop making the watches unless they agreed to use JLC movements. And Hamilton was like, no, not doing that. But on the back, the engraving, Wilbur from Mary.
Oh, that's
and
great.
The date stamp was right before the U.S. entered World War II.
Very cool.
I'm getting chills. This young girl went to buy her boyfriend or husband a watch before he shipped out. Oh my gosh, and I'm never going to meet her to ask her about it. But I digress. All right.
Real quick side story.
Yeah.
We don't always remove, some of them have had provenance, and they were some famous people.
Oh, okay.
And we had one that we couldn't find out who it was, but we still listed the watch, and the engraving looked nice. We didn't remove it. The family contacted us.
What?
It was their father's watch that had been missing for years because he had sold it. And and I said, you know what? I will sell it to you at my cost, no profit, anything.
That's a gentleman right there, brother.
It was so interesting that they contacted us. Sorry to go off.
Oh
on
no,
that side
look at me. I got goosebumps.
Well, I got them too because they were so appreciative.
Well, that's awesome. That's so good to know. All right, so we've got 2 left for the episode, and I have saved 2 of my more favorite watches that I've seen in the shop. And actually, this one, I gotta say, it's awful tempting. All right, first one up, Tudor. Let me get a little bit of footage of the Tudor. Now, I know a little bit about these. This is a Snowflake Submariner from back in the day. If I only knew someone who knew more about it than me.
Well, and typically Leo, who's not here at the moment, knows a lot about this. It's from 1980, Tudor has always been the wholly owned subsidiary of Rolex. They'll use, even the case backs will say case by Rolex. Yeah. They use a Rolex crown,
back
for
in the day,
example.
they've got a couple Rolex parts on them.
The only difference would be their movement. So I've always been a fan of Tudor. And then all of a sudden, the Submariner started to become extremely popular and high demand, and especially the Snowflake dial, which, with the nice wide markers on it and everything. So we came across this one. I think we found it and acquired it relatively inexpensively, and we're trying to sell it below market value right now, but it's amazing how these took off. But not every Tudor does, but all the Submariners become very, very popular.
Tudor has certainly become a darling, but I want to take a moment to really talk about this piece because, just to be blunt, I've been hunting one, and there is a lot of unreal, make-believe ones out in the market. F-watches, as I call them. Yes. And I picked up the Tudor Mondani book, which has helped guide me through it. But guess what? If you know who you're buying from, you don't have to worry about it. Love this watch, want to own this watch. And I don't feel confident buying it through the internet, through the Bay or Chrono 24. If I can tell it's been monkeyed with, who knows what else is out there. So word to the wise on the Tudor. Firing up the DJI-2. Oh, and by the way, all the hyper activity for me today is brought to you by Intelligentsia Instant Coffee. If I'm talking too fast, just turn the knob down. All right, Longines, or is it Longines? I think it's Longines.
Longines.
Longines 13 ZN flyback chronograph. They invented it, right?
Yes, I believe so. With that model, actually.
Yeah. So I have a Longines, and if I'm being honest, the 13ZN is the one I want, and boy, is she gorgeous. Tell us all about it.
Well, this one's from 1939. We have another one. This one has a dial refinish. We have one that has an original dial, which is heavily patinaed and aged as well. And we have the archival documents for both of these,
right
both the ones from 1939. Just a really beautiful looking watch. I mean, the dial was redone exactly how it appeared when it was new. And you know, that blue inner track, it's just, to me, I just think it's really attractive. They were very, very much desirable, 10, 15 years ago.
Yep.
And you know, one of the things that I think some people don't like about it is they took a 16 millimeter strap.
Interesting.
Rather than an 18. But that's a personal preference.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you like vintage, you accept it for exactly what it is. You know.
And that is the case with a lot of vintage pieces. It's you wear the watch that fits you, plus the watch you love, right?
Yes.
And my general principle is nothing that hangs off past my wrist. For me personally, I think this one's going to go into my pocket. An amazing, amazing piece. Well, I'm hoping that you out there got to enjoy a little bit of Behind the Case. Oh, what a great name. Behind the Case with John. Brilliant. Behind the Case with John. And as always, when I invite in a trusted supplier into the Hobby of Hours family, it's because I trust the supplier. John and Leo are guys I've been doing business with, looking to do more business with them, try and move some weight together. So, talking about discounts, I always try to negotiate something in for you in terms of a discount. Now, I know we have a discount sheet around here coming up for your sale.
Yes.
Is that around here?
I can go get it.
Ba-bam, sale. This is what's going on. And the special Hobby of Hours discount is going to be, whenever this sale passes, it'll be going on for the partnership, is $200 off any watch that you may like. Now, does that include the Hobby of Hours owner-operator executive discount of 50%?
No.
Oh. Well, you can't blame me for trying. A big thanks to John and Leo for letting me behind the case with them, getting to check out their watches and sharing some of their story. I appreciate you very much, as you well know. And I encourage anyone who is in the Beverly Hills area or anyone who has access to the internet to check out Second Time Around Watch Company, secondtimearoundwatchco.com, for an excellent selection of vintage watches from someone you can trust. I'm going to get back to it. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.
My pleasure.